Okay, people, so breaking news. This just came down the news wire. Actually, it came down. It was official yesterday, and this was rumored a couple of days ago. But breaking news, nevertheless, I'm the best. Bradley Beal is heading to the Phoenix Suns. In return, the Washington Wizards are going to get Chris Paul. Now, there's some other there's some other things that are in the mix, like some players, draft picks and pick swaps and things of that nature. I'm just going to just break it down, tell y'all the good, the bad, the ugly about this trade. So Bradley Beal was being rumored to be traded to the Miami Heat for Tyler Hero. I heard a scenario where he could have been traded to the Chicago Bulls, the Boston Celtics. I discounted all those rumors because simple fact, NBA teams or NBA organizations prefer to, when they negotiating a trade, they rather send the player to a different conference. So I just, knew that those deals wasn't going, none of those potential rumors were going to happen, because of the simple fact they don't make the Washington Wizards better as far as the future goes. The Washington Wizards, let's just face facts and face reality. Even when they had Bradley Beal, there was no expectation that the Washington Wizards were going to contend in the playoffs or even make a deep run in the playoffs. It seemed like everyone in the Eastern Conference has gotten better, and the Washington Wizards progressively just got worse. Now, when they signed Bradley Beal in the offseason last year, I was totally shocked. I thought Bradley Beal was going to another team, but instead he stayed with the Washington Wizards. And we covered that topic, and I told you guys, I just don't realistically see Bradley Beal playing for the Washington Wizards for the whole remaining length of that contract. And I was right. So Bradley Beal is going to the Phoenix Suns, and some players, some picks. I think it's a second round pick and some pick swaps between the Wizards and the Suns. Chris Paul is going to the Wizards. So as far as it goes for Phoenix, okay, Phoenix has another wing player. They have a reliable player. If you compare him to Chris Paul, there's some pros and cons with either of these players. I think Chris Paul's a better floor general, a veteran, has been there, done that, sort of say, as far as advancing into the playoffs, making deep runs in the playoffs. So he's been there, done that. But the negative, if you want to say, about Chris Paul is his health. He cannot stay healthy as far as the season go, and when you really need him the most, which is in the playoffs, he's unavailable because of his health. Now, Chris Paul has done a lot of things. He changed his diet. He's working out more. I just think it's just old age. The longer you play in the league and the longer you get injured, a lot of those injuries just linger. They just don't go away. So what you're going to be missing from Chris Paul is, as far as the Phoenix Suns go, you're going to be missing a floor general, someone who's sort of been there, done that. And the negative about Chris Paul is he's not available. He's not available when you need him the most. The best ability is availability. Now, what the Washington Wizards are going to pros and cons about Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is a star in the NBA. He puts butts in seats. And the negative about keeping Bradley Beal with the Washington Wizards, they were not going anywhere. It's just that simple. They were not going anywhere. It doesn't matter who coaches the Washington Wizards. They signed Kristaps Porzingis. Porzingis and Beal. That's clearly not enough to get in the not only in the A gap in the East, but even the B gap of the East. They're a one and done team with that formula there. So sending Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns, yeah, you're going to get someone that's dependable. You're gonna get another wing player. Bradley Beal is not too shabby on the defensive end. But the cons are you're not going to have a legit traditional point guard running your offense. Now, I have heard several reports that Devin Booker is going to be taking the responsibility of what Chris Paul used to do for the Phoenix Suns. I mean, he kind of sort of done it when Chris Paul was no longer, when he was injured and he was on the bench. But that was like, a short-term solution. As far as him doing it long-term in an NBA season, we're going to have to wait and see. I just don't. I think eventually they're going to be looking for another point guard that can at least take the ball up the court whenever Devin Booker doesn't want to do it or Kevin Durant doesn't want to do it, which, by the way, Kevin Durant has been known to, get everyone set up on the other side of the court. I still feel like they still need a point guard to do that. I'm pretty sure they have someone on their bench, or they're just going to simply just get a affordable point guard in free agency. They don't have to trade everything to get a bona fide point guard. I mean, they're available, but everything has levels. All right, so they'll Bradley Beal as far as a wing defender, and he's a wing player that is great for the Phoenix Suns. I think that strengthens them. As long as they keep Deandre Ayton, Devin Booker has stepped up on the defensive end. Kevin Durant was known to play some defense, particularly when he played with the Golden State Warriors. He was pretty good as on the defensive side. So their defense is going to get significantly better than it did when they had Chris Paul. Not to say that Chris Paul wasn't playing defense. It's just he was unavailable in a lot of games. All right. I still think that as far as the Golden State Warriors go, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Los Angeles Lakers, Sacramento Kings, the Houston Rockets, those teams that have taller, like wing type defenders, they're going to flourish over those teams. But I still think on the outside looking in, they're going to have a hard time defending and matching up with the Denver Nuggets. They still don't have anyone that can stay in front of the Joker. Now, they did steal 2 games when they had their series against the Denver Nuggets, and that was without the services of Chris Paul, and they didn't have Bradley Beal in that lineup, and they still managed to get 2 games from the Denver Nuggets. Is that subject to change? To be determined. We're going to have to wait and see how all this works out and how all of this plays out. I think they're going to have to create a lot of chemistry on the floor. They're going to have some trust on the floor with one another. But who knows? I mean, I think Bradley Beal will play well with anyone. None of these 3 players have egos as size as Texas, so I think that they're going to be good on that front. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Now, I'm wary of how this is all going to work when it's all said and done. But if they get them a point guard, a decent point guard, I think they have the makings of making it to the NBA Finals. All right, with this proposed team, I want to see how they play against the Denver Nuggets in the regular season and how this help or harm them. I think it's going to do more help than harm. All right, so you're going to have someone that's going to be dependable, that's not going to be injured a lot. So there you have it. All right, so on the other side, we're going to be talking about the Washington Wizards. I think the Washington Wizards are simply rebuilding. If you've been paying attention to what they have done with this trade. They're pretty much have waved the white flag as far as the scenario having Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis thinking that's going to be enough to get them in the postseason. They're pretty much saying like, yo, look, we're just gonna quit while we're ahead. We don't have anything that can get us into the playoffs or make a long run in the playoffs. That's why I thought the Bradley Beal, trading Bradley Beal to Miami Heat for for another player. It's not even a young player. Now Tyler Hero is young, but you can't grow with Bradley Beal. I mean, with oh my God, you can't grow with Tyler Hero, but it is what it is. So, I think the Phoenix Suns are clearly going to rebuild. I don't think Chris Paul is going to be a member of the Phoenix Suns for long. Now, they said in this deal, Chris Paul got more money just being traded. All right. So Chris Paul's going to get some or the majority of his money, that he could have lost with the Phoenix Suns. But I think that at the end of the day, me personally, I see them trying to buy him out. It might be a little bit too rich for the Phoenix Suns' blood. They might just go ahead and, just play with him with the Phoenix Suns. With the Washington Wizards. And maybe try to orchestrate a trade to get Chris Paul closer West Coast to like the Clippers or the Los Angeles Lakers. I just realistically, I'm going to be honest, 100% honest. I just don't, Chris Paul, I love Chris Paul to death. Have no issues with Chris Paul, but Chris Paul is getting older. The window has completely shut as far as Chris Paul getting a ring. And the only way he's going to get a ring if he gets carried by a super team. He can't do it by himself. Well, no player can do it by themselves. But I think Chris Paul has, set this into his head that, look, the possibility or the scenario that, him getting a ring this late in his career realistically is not going to happen. So if he goes back west, he'll be closer to his family. It will be a family decision more than a basketball decision. I don't think the Lakers are any closer to getting a ring, even with the services of Chris Paul. I don't even think definitely the Clippers are not in they're not just one player away to getting a ring. I think the windows and the doors are pretty much shut between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Los Angeles Clippers. I think they're on the back burner when you look at all these other teams that could possibly leapfrog and jump over those two West Coast teams. Now, if he can find himself in Sacramento, in that young tandem that they have in Sacramento, now that's a little bit different. I think, they can, he doesn't have to play as much. They can limit his minutes and just save him for the postseason. I think Sacramento, even without the services of Chris Paul, can still make it into the playoffs. So they're not going to be utilizing him as much if he would have went to the Clippers or the Los Angeles Lakers. I think if the Los Angeles Lakers get Chris Paul, they're going to be a hell of a lot slower. They're going to be limited in on the defensive side. And is Chris Paul going to be able to play a full calendar regular season? I just don't see it. Then you got Anthony Davis that's going to be in and out of the lineup, and the possibility of LeBron James being in and out of the lineup due to load management, or he's got he had an injury. Okay, so that will make the Los Angeles Lakers super old. And now you have three people. Now you got three players on your roster that are injury prone. Now with him and with the Clippers, I feel like it's the same scenario. Kawhi Leonard is starting to miss a lot of games, having a lot of injuries. Paul George is the same thing. And now you got Chris Paul. I just think either of those LA teams are not going to be beneficial for Chris Paul. I think if he wants to still play close to his family, I think the best deal is him to land with Sacramento, because he can do little and still be potentially great for that team. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so that's all I got for this. Now I'm gonna switch real quick. Instead of doing a whole entire video, Chris Haynes is reporting that Zion Williams is going to be traded this coming Thursday. Now, I did a video about this last week, a couple of days ago, and there was an article that says Zion Williams is going to stay put with the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, a lot of people are jumping on this story, like NBA radio. They're talking about it. And it's more of a basketball decision more than what he's doing off the court or the contract or things of that nature. They're thinking that the New Orleans Pelicans has gotten the best out of Zion, but unfortunately Zion his career has been riddled with a lot of injuries. And there's a lot of people out there that's saying that in the offseason, he's not doing what he said he was going to do for the New Orleans Pelicans. He has regurgitated slightly, and they just don't like what Zion Williams is doing as far as preparing for the next season. So that's that, as well as, look, we giving it our best shot. We allow Zion Williams to get better. When he is healthy, you can see why he was picked so high. But when he's sitting on the sidelines, you're just missing potential. And let's just face reality. Zion Williams is not getting any younger. He's getting older. And eventually, though, having that amount of injuries is going to catch up with you. All right? It just doesn't look good for a big man, too. And I know Zion Williams is technically not a big man, but a guy that has that much mass on their body, and he's got a lot of injuries around his knees and stuff. You sit up there and you wonder, are we going to get any type of return off of Zion Williams? So I think the New Orleans Pelicans are preparing to trade Zion Williams to get more pieces to what they already have on their roster. Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum are some excellent players for the New Orleans Pelicans. They made it to the playoffs even without the services of Zion Williams. So to me, if you trade Zion Williams, you're going to get 2, maybe 3 players that can ultimately make life a lot better for New Orleans. And, I wish the best for Zion Williams, but it's, look, this is clearly a basketball move, and this is a basketball decision. It has nothing to do with what's going on off the court. But Zion Williams has digressed some. So that's all I got on the Zion Williams topic. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. We'll just wait and see if Zion Williams make it past Thursday. Then what that tells me is that the offers are slim and none, and the offers that they are getting, why make this move? And you're not going to get any better by making this move. And they may just give him one more chance and one more year to see about Zion Williams' future. But guys, I'm up out of here. Deuces.